Do you feel like no other food in the world hits the same way as McDonald's does? Do you crave McDonald's so much that you feel like nothing else in the world is going to satisfy that craving? Do you dream about burgers and chicken nuggets and those crispy French fries? I grew up with both my parents working full-time, eating fast food 4 days a week. And McDonald's was at the top of my list every time. Now, my parents tried to not let me eat McDonald's every day, but there were times where I was kicking and screaming because I needed to get my chicken nuggets. That's addiction, folks. And I was addicted at 6 years old, and I didn't even know how to spell addiction. Today, I'm gonna help you recognize if you're caught in the fast food trap. I want to share the steps to break free and reclaim your health and your taste buds. First of all, we have to dive into the science of addiction and the way that the food at McDonald's is engineered to keep you addicted and to keep you coming back for more over and over and over. I know it was true for me. I could not help myself sometimes just going to McDonald's, getting a quick burger and fries, getting a very, very sugary drink, and it satisfied so many cravings. The first thing to realize to know if you're addicted is the cravings. If you're thinking about this more than you're thinking about your own health, your own personal safety, your own risk for diseases, you're probably addicted, and that's okay. It's something that we can work through. It's something that millions of people have worked through, and if you're here and you clicked on this video, you're already taking that step. So I'm proud of you for taking the first step in beating addiction, which is recognizing that you have an addiction. The high levels of fat, salt, and sugar that you find in McDonald's food are literally designed to control your brain. This super salty, fatty, and sugary food overloads your brain's reward system. It gives you so much reward in those moments when you're eating that food that it almost breaks your brain. When your brain's reward system is overloaded, you're getting a dopamine rush. That is the same chemical compound that you experience when you're doing drugs, when you're drinking, or when you're in any type of addicted activity. Fast food companies are prioritizing flavor engineering. Flavor engineering is when they take the most intense, powerful flavors and put that into the food, and they prioritize flavor engineering over nutrition every single time. So just know, when you eat McDonald's, they do not care about your nutrition. They care about keeping you coming back for more to line their pockets. We can call these foods hyper palatable, which means it's so easy to eat. It is the easiest food in the world to eat. And if you're eating this hyper palatable food all the time, it makes it so actually nutritious whole foods taste boring. And I know you've experienced that. I know how I felt when I was eating McDonald's all the time. It felt like every other food that I ate just wasn't cutting it. It's like it wasn't even food. It's like McDonald's was food up here and everything else was down here. But that's because your brain was being overloaded with dopamine every time you're eating this food. So it's not just about the cravings, it really is about what's happening inside your body when you consume this food. Unfortunately, if you're addicted to McDonald's, your heart is probably suffering. The #1 killer in America is heart disease. This means that more people die from heart disease related complications than from any other cause of death. And unfortunately, eating a lot of McDonald's is going to increase your risk of heart disease. This is because of the high amounts of saturated fat that's in the food and the high amounts of sodium. Both of these combined is like a ticking time bomb. This is going to lead to high blood pressure and higher risks of heart disease. The World Health Organization, which is the premier global organization regarding healthy standards, has classified red meat as a carcinogen. That means it is a substance that is known to cause cancer. Consuming burgers over and over and over, consuming these animal products is making you more likely to get a cancer diagnosis. And I do not want that for you. I have experienced people who I love deeply going through cancer and dying from cancer. It is not something I would wish on anybody, and you need to make sure that you're taking control of your own health before they take that control away from you. Fast food is really high in calories and really low in nutrients, and together, that's a recipe for weight gain. It's super easy to overeat fast food because your body is still craving nutrition even after you finish the meal. And that's because it's not designed with nutrition in mind. So you're always going to want to eat more. Eating a lot of fast food has been shown to increase depression and anxiety. So your mental health can be at risk just from eating McDonald's. So I think it's really important to know how to recognize if you have a problem, because in moderation, a lot of things are okay. If you're doing it every couple weeks or once a month, it's probably not an addiction. But here are a few signs that you might be addicted to McDonald's. Do you ever get a craving that's so intense that it can only be satisfied by fast food? Do you ever experience extreme emotional reactions when you can't have that food? When I was a kid, if I couldn't have McDonald's, I would scream, I would cry, I would melt down, and I would try to do everything I could to get my parents to give in. And usually they stood their ground, but sometimes they caved, which is why I kept doing it. If you have these intense emotional reactions, you might be addicted. Another sign of addiction could be a lack of satisfaction from other nice, healthy, home-cooked meals. If you have a meal that is delicious, nutritious, and very full of flavor, but it's just not cutting it for you, you might be addicted to the hyper-palatable foods that you're used to eating. So I really want you to reflect on this. I really want you to understand more about yourself. Do you feel like fast food is the only thing that can excite your taste buds? Do you rely on fast food for convenience, for comfort, or for a mood boost, or for all three? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you're not alone, but you might have a problem, and it might be time to make a change. The first step in overcoming this addiction is to acknowledge that it is not your fault. Addiction is a disease. These foods are engineered to make you crave them. This is engineered mind control, and that's not your fault. But you have to take back control, because if you don't take back control, it is going to affect your health, affect your mental health, and affect your life. Once you recognize that you have an addiction, the next step in breaking free is to cut down. You have to start small. If you try to go cold turkey, it can work for some people, but it probably won't last. So start small and start with having one home-cooked meal every single week, something that you love. If you're not sure what your eating personality is, I have a free quiz, What's Your Eating Personality, linked in the video description, where you can learn more about yourself and how you like to eat, so you can be better informed about what to cook that you're actually going to enjoy. I have to say, you need to experiment with easy, flavorful recipes. Try at-home veggie burgers. Try baked fries instead of deep fried. It might not completely satisfy your cravings, but it will help you reduce your levels of addiction. The next step in overcoming this addiction is you have to reset your taste buds. I know it's going to be difficult, but it takes anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks to get those hyper palatable foods out of sight, out of mind, and out of your taste buds. You need to let your taste buds adjust, but while you do it, you might have fun experimenting with bold new flavors, lots of spices, lots of herbs, lots of very, very intense flavors that are healthy, so that you can readjust your taste buds. The next step in beating this addiction is planning ahead. It is way too easy to go to McDonald's for comfort and convenience, but if you plan ahead, if you know what you're gonna cook that night, or if you have plans for a healthier alternative, it makes it easier to say no when that craving comes up, because the cravings are gonna come up all the time, even after you've gone 6 months or a year after eating McDonald's. Even if you're like me and it's been almost a decade since you've eaten McDonald's, the cravings are still gonna come up, and you have to be strong. And part of being strong through this is planning ahead. You have to keep delicious snacks that are actually healthy for you on hand. Things like hummus and pita chips or veggies, things like a granola bar, things like high protein bars, and also flavored nuts and fresh fruits can make sure you're fueling your body well and keep you full enough that you don't go back to those cravings. The next step in breaking free of this addiction is to educate yourself. I know that when you learn about how scary this is for your health and for your longevity, it can do a lot to break that mind control and turn things around. Read about the health risks of fast food. Read about the impacts. If you've never watched the documentary documentary Super Size Me, definitely watch it. And if you've never watched the documentary The Game Changers, which is on Netflix, you have to watch this one too. These documentaries are gonna educate you and make sure that you're able to turn your mind around so you can beat this addiction once and for all. So what are some healthy alternatives to McDonald's favorites? Because let's be real, the burgers are delicious, the chicken nuggets are delicious, the fries are delicious, but it's all horrible for you and there's so much cruelty baked into it. For healthy alternatives, I have to suggest you go veggie. Check out the Beyond or Impossible burgers. These are high protein, but they are not gonna lead you towards heart disease and diabetes in the same way. Make sure you're putting all your favorite toppings on your burgers so it still feels like home. Try some thinly cut baked French fries, sprinkle lots of sea salt and paprika, and enjoy those with your burgers. To replace chicken nuggets, I have to say the Impossible nuggets are incredible. The brand Nugs has amazing nuggets, and these are totally plant-based, so they don't have any cholesterol in them. They're not going to lead you down the path of heart disease, and they are absolutely delicious and can still satisfy those cravings, especially if you get your favorite dipping sauces. Now, if you're a McDonald's addict when it comes to breakfast, I highly recommend you make your own breakfast sandwiches with the Beyond sausage. It is so delicious, it is so easy to cook and make at home, and it is way healthier for you. You can also eat just egg on your breakfast sandwiches to completely cut cholesterol out of your breakfast and make sure that you're fueling your body delicious and with care. If you're ready to break the cycle of addiction, I am so proud of you, and I want you to treat this like an experiment. Treat it like a fun game where you find what you enjoy that's actually good for you. Food does not have to be poison. Breaking free from fast food is not about perfection. You are going to slip back, you are going to struggle, but you have to make the commitment for yourself, for your health, and for your well-being. Every healthier choice you make is a step towards control over your own life. Right now, these fast food companies are controlling you with their hyper-saturated foods, their hyper-palatable foods that are destroying your taste buds, they are making you suffer, and they are leading you down these paths of incredibly scary health risks. Every healthier choice you make is a step towards more control over your own life. If you're ready to start, try swapping just one meal this week, and let me know in the comments what's the hardest thing for you about breaking free from this addiction. I struggled as well, and I want you to succeed. And if you want to join me on the plant-powered path, you can join my free community on School, where you can learn how to incorporate more fresh plant-based foods into your diet and how to incorporate more plant-based foods for your health, wealth, and well-being. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.